Sometimes your first impressions of a game can be completely wrong. Somebody will do a poor job explaining what it's all about, or maybe something about its presentation is just off for you personally. From the artwork style to components, something just makes you become apprehensive when you see it. So on today's show, we're going to talk about a game that gave me pause at first, because the contents basically consist of some placemats, dry erase markers, and two giant GM-style D&D role-playing screens. And that's it. Spoiler alert, it's one of the most fun games that I got to play at Gen Con this year. Captain Sonar is a game for 2 to 8 players, designed by Roberto Fraga and Johan Lemonier. Two teams go head-to-head, each taking roles manning the operations of a submarine. You work together to try to sink the opposing sub by blowing it out of the water with mines or torpedoes. All at the same time, you're trying to outsmart and outmaneuver them. And all the roles are pretty cool. So of course, first you have a captain. He's plotting the course of the sub by calling out which direction he's going and then marking it on his map. They have to navigate around islands, and their path can never backtrack or cross, much like the old cell phone game Snake. And the map is broken up into sectors and is lettered in number just like the game of Battleship. And then you have the first mate. As he's listening to the captain, he's checking off every time he calls out a direction, because his sheet in front of him has all the different operations of the ship that we can use. So mines, torpedoes, sonar, silent. All the operations have a bar with a certain number of empty spots. So every time the captain calls out a direction, he checks one of those boxes. So one move equals one check. Once a meter in the system is full, it's ready for the captain to use. But they have to be in constant communication with the engineer, because the entire time, they were listening to the captain as well, because their sheet is full of symbols that are in the boxes that correspond to each direction. So north, south, east, west. Each of them is split up into those 4 quadrants, and then the same symbols that are on the first mate sheet. And if any of those are crossed out, that system is not ready. Basically, the engineer is diverting power to all these different systems. So the first mate could be like, look, engineering, torpedoes are ready to go. Are they operational? And they'll look at their sheet. If even one of those torpedo symbols are crossed out, then it is not ready to go. And then finally, each sub has a radio operator, whose job is to listen to the other captain. So he sits to the left of the captain. He's trying to listen to the captain that's on the other side of the screen. So what he does is he plots their course. So he has the same map in front of him, but he has a plastic overlay that goes on top of it. So as they're drawing their route, he can move it and try to match it as well as he can based on the position of the island. So right away, communication is absolutely key in this game. Every role is dependent on each other, and teamwork is the only way you'll win. So first off, the captain can't just decide to go wherever he wants to go without getting information from the other teammates. As the engineer is crossing off systems, they have to worry about a couple of things. One, the direction that the captain is going. If you cross out all the symbols that go through all one direction, your sub takes damage. And then secondly, the symbols are grouped in combinations of 4 that then spread across different directions. If the engineer can cross off all 4 of those connected systems, then he gets to repair all of them. That's a really good way to get a system ready, to be like, look, if you go west on this turn and then north on this turn, we'll have that symbol crossed out and torpedoes will be ready to use. And then the radio operator, which for me is gotta be the hardest role to play, because they're trying to listen to the other captain. So when his captain has torpedoes or mines ready, he's got good coordinates to give to the captain to shoot at. Sounds pretty fun for a couple of sheets and dry erase markers, huh? The other cool thing is they have separate rules for playing turn-based and for playing real-time. Now, right away, if you're new to the game and you have some new players, you'll definitely want to play the turn-based game first. You'll have fun, but you'll immediately want to try the real-time rules. Honestly, it's obvious that the game was designed for the real-time, but it's really nice that they included rules for both. But really, the real-time game is one of the most fun games I've ever played. It's one hell of a party game, and we ended up playing it multiple times after hours at Gen Con. It's like the ultimate battleship. Like, you really feel like you're working as a team on this sub. I mean, for serious, we had 2 players on our team, one of which has been on submarines, the other one is currently stationed on submarines, so they knew exactly what was going on, and honestly, they had a blast. And there's something so satisfying about working together to get your systems ready. The operator is jumping up and down saying they know exactly where the other one, and then the captain yells, "Stop!" And he declares that he's firing a torpedo. And he calls out the coordinates that the radio operator is sure is where they're at. He's got them dead to rights. The other captain looks at the map, kind of looks nervously at his teammates. Direct hit. And the other team, you fly up and you're just like, yes! It's such a triumphant moment. I mean, you just erupt in cheers. There's no way you can. It's one of the most fun experiences I've ever had playing a board game. Now, I didn't go over all the rules, like how they handle surfacing in both versions of the rules, or the fact that there are even special scenarios included. I mean, you get a lot of maps in the game. There's a lot of game in there for just being, like I said, placemats and dry erase markers. But you can discover those on your own. There's a lot of stuff there. The one thing I will say is that a lot is riding on the radio operator. If they aren't good at their job, you won't have much to shoot at. Even with mines, you need a pretty good guess. So hopefully you can at least make the other team surface, so you'll at least know what sector they're in. So that can kind of bring down the game if you have a player that doesn't know the game so well and they're the radio operator, or maybe they're just not very good at it. No pressure, radio operator. No pressure, get it? Because you're in a sub. But yeah, if you get an opportunity, you should definitely check out Captain Sonar.